Greetings. As promised, I'm gonna put out more channeling videos, and this is gonna be one of those. And so every time I sit down to do this, I don't really know what I'm gonna get. I know I'm gonna get a connection to the higher mind, but I don't always have an indication of what the transmission is going to be about. So it's always a matter of trust and surrender and not having to really prepare anything, but rather just to prepare myself in the sense of being an open channel and seeing what comes out. So I am just as much anticipating and waiting and wondering as much as any of you who are going to be viewing this. So let's go ahead and drop into the channeling state and let's see what happens. Let's see what comes through. Good day to ya. We welcome you to the realms of light, where the vast majority of who you are also exists. We welcome you to the realms of light, from where your physical life, your physical personality, and your entire physical world also springs, emerging from that non-physical realm. And you are now, as you perceive yourself to be this finite being experiencing this transmission. And within this personality structure, you have taken many steps to move forward upon your path, and thusly this message will be, as always, to help aid and assist those that are listening in to also take steps upon their paths as well. One of the items that has been coming into your consciousness, your collective consciousness now, is, of course, your connection to nature, as you're recognizing that you are aspects of nature, that you are nature. And you are, some of you, very concerned about the state of the world. Others of you are expanding your hearts to connect to nature and all the many manifestations of nature. And many of you are, who are on the spiritual path, recognizing that nature is also a reflective mirror whereby you have the opportunity to develop a kind of relationship that will help reflect you back to yourselves. And this is what we want to encourage this day of your time. Because the channel himself has too been answering the call that we've been telling him and that he's been receiving from nature spirits themselves, to open up to that dimension of actuality, of reality. And thusly this session will be to inspire those of you that are inspired to reach out into the natural realms, to do so as well through whatever means that you find excites you, that you feel passionate about. For many of you it will be different, it will not be the same for each and every one of you. Some of you might be drawn to look at various artworks of representations of these beings of nature. Others of you will be called more to create the artwork yourselves, to actually paint or to create in various ways images and to channel them into a kind of physical form through artwork. And this can be another way. Of course, it goes without saying that spending time in nature will be very, very beneficial to the opening and cultivation of this relationship. And speaking of cultivation, of course, there is the art of gardening. For nature spirits do truly appreciate a being that dedicates some time to create a garden in their lives, and there will be many secrets, many open secrets, shall we say, that will be disseminated to those who get their hands in the earth, for the earth itself has many secrets to share. They are not withheld, but you must be a vibrational match to the earth frequency to receive those communications, those transmissions. The earth itself is its own kind of mystery school. And many of you have separated and segregated yourselves from the preciousness of the earth from which you physically emerge. And thusly, having created these artificial separations and barriers, many of you are feeling cut off from other beings, from yourselves, from existence itself. And this is in part because you have separated yourself from the earth, from the planetary frequency and field which does support you. You are physically supported and nourished by the earth, but so much more than that, you are energetically supported by the earth. Thusly, getting your hands in the clay, getting your hands in the earth is a powerful bridge for connecting to these beings that emanate from the electromagnetic fields of the earth and developing a relationship. You can also develop relationships with the animals that you are sharing your spaces with. Some of you might be drawn to different kinds of animals, be they birds. The channel himself is particularly fond of hummingbirds because it is one of his totems, as you say, and helps him to connect to nature in a very powerful way through this little tiny being that has very, very big energy. So you might cultivate a kind of a relationship with the various animal species that you're surrounded by. This can also be a very powerful way for you create a relationship. You create a kind of offering of yourself, of your time, perhaps creating a little birdhouse, or perhaps putting out a hummingbird feeder, or perhaps planting flowers that you know will attract certain kinds of beings and that you can admire and cultivate that relationship with. And then you'll be cultivating a relationship with the plant species, with the animal species, and through them connecting to the nature spirits. So there are many pathways. There is not one singular pathway, and even for you, for a singular being, you might find yourself being drawn to different pathways at different times. So do not get locked into any one way being the only way, for there are many ways. Now, some channelers have prescribed various methods to connect to the earth, and remember that all methods are, in a manner of speaking, as the Sassani like to say, permission slips. So don't get locked in on having to do it a certain specific way because your way is the right way, and every way will be different. There was once a being upon your world that said, as many beings that exist, that is how many paths there are to God. And so, as many beings that exist, that is how many paths there are. For you are the path. And you are reconnecting to yourselves, using nature as a kind of reflective mirror, which is itself a kind of emanation of you, or you an emanation of it. Therefore, see all the reflections, and most of all, open your hearts to nature, because nature longs to reconnect with humanity. This is the time period, and your hearts long to reconnect with nature. And so, taking the actions, taking the steps, rolling your sleeves up and getting your hands in the clay, getting your hands in the art, and creating works of art, and even admiring and appreciating works of art will help you to connect to these realms, for there are many artists who have depicted nature spirits of all kinds, and you can find those as well. Now, we do advise, of course, to develop your own relationship with these beings, and while there is much second-hand information out there, realize that the collective consciousness is as yet still mired in many negative beliefs as you're popping out of third density, moving into fourth density. Thusly, let yourself develop your own personal relationship with these beings that are very reflective, very playful. For at times they will playfully reflect whatever negativity you bring with yourself. So sometimes they get a little bit of a bad rep for that. But that is their nature, to be reflective. Any relationship you are in will be reflective. Thusly, if you tend to blame your troubles upon other people in your life, you will likely do the same with these little beings. These beings, little beings that are really very big beings. So understand that this is a process of ascension that is very integrative. So if you want to get a hint of what your relationships with the nature spirits will be like, well, what are the relationships in your own life like right now? For it will be reflective. You take yourself everywhere you go, and that means whether you go out of body or you go astral project or you bring yourself into nature, you bring yourself everywhere you go. So be very mindful of what you bring to every relationship, not just the natural one with the nature beings, but also with all relationships. They're all reflective mirrors helping you to awaken to your true natural selves. So be aware of that and take stock of how you are interacting with individuals, how you are interacting with nature. What beliefs are you coming from? For, of course, we do not excuse or create excuses for the negative behaviors of others or that you perceive. However, the one portion that you do own is how you react and how you respond to the environment. So be aware of what you bring into these relationships, and you will, if you come in with an open heart, and if you come in really truly willing to have a co-creative, harmonious relationship, that is what these beings will reflect back to you. They will reflect tremendous love, tremendous appreciation. They are very aware this is the timing for humanity to come back into the open arms of nature, to create a sense of deep harmonization and realization of the oneness that you do share with nature. So they are, in a sense, not exactly waiting for you, but you can colloquially say that they are very much ready and very much appreciative of the shift that will be taking place, that is taking place upon the world now. So they are open. It is the heart of humanity that we are, in a manner of speaking, colloquially waiting on. So the more each and every one of you awakens to these beautiful beings, the more you create a bridge, a link, a connection, a trail of breadcrumbs for others to follow. You set an example, you set a template for others to observe, for they will observe within you that something has shifted, and you will pique their curiosity, those that are ready. And then you can begin sharing what you are doing within your own life, and share the magic that you're discovering right in your own backyard. For you do not have to get supremely elaborate and travel long distances. Of course, if that's your passion, if it's your excitement, by all means visit sacred sites and sacred mountains and sacred forests. Of course, follow your heart. However, don't make that an obstacle to connecting with nature, because you can connect to nature anywhere and everywhere. Just have a willingness within your heart to co-create something wonderful, and you'll find that relationship. For there are many beings right there in your urban environments. You can connect to various aspects of bird life. You can connect to various aspects of plants. If you yourself do some gardening yourself, you can begin a very co-creative relationship with the earth right there, right in your backyard. So don't let elaborate plots or ideas of how to connect with nature separate you from the experience of connecting with nature, and trust us that once you initiate this relationship, the means, the ways, the pathways will open up for you to cultivate it in whatever way really suits your life path, your curriculum, your soul curriculum, your theme of exploration. So take those first steps, no matter how tiny, no matter how small. Don't get discouraged by thinking you have to do it in any specific way, because your way will be the right way for you. But begin to take that action and begin to ground that energy and to move in that direction, in no matter how tiny of a step that you take. Be it perhaps that you just get one flower that maybe, will attract hummingbirds into your space, into your area. Anything so tiny, so simple will begin to initiate the process, and then inspiration will begin to flow through you, and then you keep grounding that through your action, and before you know it, you're co-creating this beautiful relationship. You meet up with other beings and other people who share your excitement. You might create various groups to share your experiences, but don't let the grandiosity of the the experience at hand discourage you from taking the tiny small steps that create momentum as you continue to act upon them. So that is our transmission for today. We very much wanted to share what is experiencing, what we've been sharing with the channel as he opens up to nature spirits, for you all to co-create the version of Earth, to shift to the version of Earth where you all are very much feeling yourselves to be connected to Earth, to the electromagnetic fields, to the nature spirits, so that you can have a really wonderful experience in this truly magical realm that you call the physical realm. So with that, we will then encourage you to develop your own relationships and allow them to be the reflective mirrors within which you will discover more and more of your true natural selves. Let it be a joyous and spontaneous creation and co-creation, and the nature spirits will be very happy to engage with you in that way. Therefore, then we will wish you a very loving, fond, and beautiful good day. Well, alright. I had a feeling it might have something to do with nature spirits and connecting to nature, as that has really been happening in my life. I've been really interacting more with the hummingbirds and spending time in the garden, planting flowers, and just really opening that up. And I've discovered that very much the magical nature of the nature spirits is becoming more and more present in my life, it's just a beautiful layer of reality that's always been there, that we've tuned out of and that we can tune ourselves back into. So may this inspire you to open your heart to the natural world and to the magic that is around us all the time. So I too will then wish you a fond good day as well.